Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 6 of the New York chapter of Masks of Nyarlathotep. Um, we have one player out sick, so Benjamin is going to be called away on a news assignment on this day, so he will not be around. So it will just be Thaddeus and Natalia.
Boom, boom, boom.
So it's been a little while. We did a quick recap right beforehand. It it is evening now. Let's see. Let's jump over to the calendar. It is evening of the 20th. I already kind of marked off the 20th because I wasn't sure if you really wanted to do anything that evening or just wait till the next day. But that day you went and met Erica Carlisle, and Thaddeus is hoping that she will be willing to sell him the books that you're interested in. You also had an interesting conversation about her brother, and Natalia was invited to come back if she wanted to talk further about anything. And then you went to Juju House, the African collectible little store in Harlem, run by Silas N'Kwane, and I don't think you learned much of anything of interest there, but you did run into someone who turned out to be a police detective that Natalia tried to kind of let him sweet talk her a little bit and take her to a diner, but that kind of fell through, and he made you. So he kind of got up and left. So that's where we left things. Is that you guys, I would assume, are returning home after that diner escapade, unless there was something else you wanted to do in the evening. So I'll leave that to you.
As they get back to Thaddeus's home, Natalia goes into the office room that they've been kind of conducting their
Okay.
regular business in,
Uh-huh.
and kind of pinching the bridge of her nose, looking slightly annoyed, hand on her hip, pacing.
Yep.
She looks back to Thaddeus with a kind of frustrated look on her face. So, why exactly did Benjamin think it was a good idea to go into the diner?
Only Benjamin can know that. I figured we'd follow and keep distance, and he just took off out the car.
Apparently, the detective is, well, he's at least in no confirming words said that he was the one who arrested the men, at least what I'm thinking, framed for the murders in Harlem.
So that's the detective that arrested the man. So what? Did he say anything else? Like,
He said he got him. He basically implied that he was very guilty, but I can't help but go back to the notes that Elias wrote about how some of the members of the police force are kind of co-conspirators in everything that's going on, and for some reason, I think this has weight. I think men like the detective, or at least detectives and police officers like him. I don't know if it's just this paranoia that I have, but I feel like this is much larger than originally anticipated. This is it's kind of a, I don't want to say worldwide thing, it sounds crazy, but based on everything we've seen in Peru, everything we've read from Elias, it all seems connected. No? Am I... Tell me if I'm being crazy, Thaddeus.
Well, from what I seen in Peru, if I didn't see it, I would think that you were being crazy. But it would not surprise me if it wasn't a bigger conspiracy than what we would think. You know, thinking small, but it's actually it could be bigger because I mean, who do you trust? You can't trust the cops.
No. I think they framed this man, and unfortunately, I do not think there's anything we can do about it to help him without attracting any attention. I think what happened at the diner attracted enough attention to us that we are looking into it. With my questioning, Benjamin showing up and watching, I'm concerned.
Yes, and we should be. I mean, how high up do you think it might go? I mean, do you think my commissioner friend could be affected?
He could be. Then again, I feel like if your commissioner friend was affected by this, I think we would be receiving a lot more roadblocks than we already are. I think we would be receiving people here sooner. Similar to him. The other woman, your friend. I think, well, at least Benjamin figured out that whole Dr. Lemming thing. Though, the farther we go on this, the more people we pull in.
That is true. I don't know. I mean, who knows who's going to be involved? It has to be somebody. It has to be people with lots of money. Obviously, they skipped me, but
Are you offended that they skipped you in the Thaddeus?
kind of am.
You want to be part of this whole death cult thing?
Well, at least in the know a little bit. But we are involved because they messed with our friend. They killed Jackson.
Yes. I have a feeling that in order to find out more, we can't stay here. We're going to need to visit some of these contacts, some of these places that Jackson has noted.
Yes.
I just don't know where to go first. And
Yes, we don't know if one of them is a dead end. We don't know. I mean, we can gallivant all over the world if we want, but I think that opens more questions than answers.
we need to decide directly on a place. I am not one who would like to leave my daughter behind again. I don't know how she will handle it. But I don't know if I could take her with me.
Well,
I don't want to leave her.
if Peru is any type of benchmark for anything, I don't think it'd be a place for a child. However, that doesn't mean if you would want to take her that we would have to include her in all of our travels. You know, I mean, we can always arrange for trusted people to be with her and take her sightseeing and everything.
I know.
It might be a fun adventure. That is, of course, it doesn't turn into a Peru.
I hope it does not. But I mean, maybe she'll have fun sightseeing. Natalia gives a bit of a smile before looking over the wall looking at books.
Hmm.
Well, hmm?
I was thinking perhaps maybe we just follow in his footsteps, where he started from, where he ended up, and we could go to England and then Africa, and then looks like Hong Kong might have been a stop somewhere. I mean, I don't know which order exactly he went in.
I mean, that is a good idea as any. That is. I think we should start planning now for this trip. But first, maybe in the morning we can contact this Dr. Lemming, see if he knows more before we solidify our uh, travel plans.
Yes. And maybe some whiskey while I sit down and think and help move things along.
There is a knock on the study door, and it is a servant who says that a letter arrived for you late this afternoon from the Carlisle estate.
Well, let's have it.
It is from Mr. Gray. That's um, that's her, Erica's.
Butler?
No, it's more like his right hand, her right hand man. Personal secretary is probably a good way to put it. And he says that Ms. Carlyle is considering the sale of the books in question, but she wants to have an independent person she knows to come and appraise them. And she said to give her a couple days, and she'll get back to you. And of course there are other pleasantries that she passes on. That it was a pleasant visit this morning, and she hopes to see more of you, etc., etc.
He'll look over and... Are you quite skilled at the art of forming a decent letter to someone of status? Talking to the one who brought the message.
Um. Oh. Uh, mm, I can compose a letter if you dictate, sir, but I wouldn't presume to communicate on your behalf.
Well, I mean, I just need one small thing sent, and you can reply to the peasantries, I assume, in kind. But I would just like her to know that, and of course, it was nice to see her. I mean, you could handle the pleasantries, but if she can expedite the book thing, would be it's of great importance.
I will convey that to Ms. Carlyle, sir.
Thank you.
And he goes.
And Natalia will take a seat in the usual seat that she's claimed in this office. Looking over to the table, most likely a bottle of vodka has just been sitting there, as usual. Pours herself a glass, raises it up to Thaddeus. Well, we might as well drink for a while.
Sometimes the best things come from sitting down and drinking for a while.
Indeed, that's how I had my daughter. So, a little bit of a smile. I'm kidding.
Well, I have no such luck, as you can tell.
Sometimes it is, well, it is a pleasure to have children.
Guess at this point, I can only imagine.
I mean, you could always get a young wife.
Well, if I've seen, I don't know if I can bring somebody else that maybe someday may disappear again.
We unfortunately have both had people be lost and disappear on us.
We have.
And with that, Natalia will raise her glass to Thaddeus.
Thaddeus will, as he's getting ready to go sit down with his glass, would clink it as he's making his way to his chair.
Helen and Svetlana
Svetlana?
are still living here on the estate, correct? For the time being.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
Affirmative.
then I think they would come and wish you a good night. In case you forget what they look like, there they are. Your family.
Oh yeah.
Remember them? Yeah.
Oh yeah, I have a daughter. Now Natalia would kind of put down her drink and just go over to Svetlana. I'd tuck you in.
She doesn't say anything. She just kind of looks at you, and you know that look. It's the look that says she's not happy with you right now, and that she's gonna punish you by not talking to you.
Oh no.
Hmm.
She pats Svetlana on the head. Well, it is all right. I will just interpret everything that you're saying through your looks and your silence. You're very happy to go to bed. You're very happy to get up very early in the morning and go on a run with me. Yes?
She kind of closes one eye and looks at you, and you can tell she wants to do it, but she also doesn't want to look too eager. So she just kind of shrugs.
Talia smiles and starts ushering her to her bedroom.
Yep, she takes your hand and makes sure that she's leading you to the bedroom.
Oh. Okay.
And then she hands you a book. And it seems to just be a random book she grabbed from Thaddeus's bookshelf.
Uh-oh.
Lord of the Flies. This is not a bedtime story, but okay.
It'll probably put her to sleep, whatever it is.
Thaddeus, of course, would offer Benjamin's wife a nightcap if she so inclined.
She says she just sleeps with her hair out. She'll take the nightcap.
Need a smile and fix her up a glass and set it down. Shame Benjamin got called away.
She says, well, it's good that he has work, that he has real work to do.
Oh, he's kind of doing the same thing. It's only more more looking into, I guess people would think, fictional things.
She just lights a cigarette and kind of looks away. You have gotten the impression over the last few days that she has been indulgent with him as far as, pursuing this whole thing, but you can tell she's not very happy about it.
With that, he was a pretty good friend of Jackson's. That might be what's driving him to accompanying us on our looking into things. I hope that could be of some, I don't want to say comfort, but
She says, well, if he wants to start a family, we're going to need more than comfortable feelings.
I see. Well, I'll promise you that if you need some time, we can maybe fit some time in. And he's looking like kind of confounded now, a little nervous because he doesn't, he's obviously not had any type of discussion about stuff like that before.
Yes, yes.
So, but
Yeah, well, you can
you
always
know,
pour yourself another drink. That's a nice, nice way to break the conversation.
yeah,
She doesn't seem too terribly eager to continue the conversation anyway. So
but maybe afterwards, and when things become a little normal. I mean, in the meantime, you do have a lot at your disposal to enjoy around here. I would hope. It's been a long time since anybody has roamed some of these halls.
she says, "I certainly appreciate your hospitality, Thaddeus, but it's also not my home."
I know, but safety is the utmost concern right now. I'm not sure how much he's shared with what has been going on, but it's a safe bet to have everybody together and under guard.
She says, she says he doesn't always have a good nose for staying out of trouble. I just hope you're not leading him into deeper trouble.
Well, I tell you what, I would not let anything happen to him. Then the best I could. I mean, I'm not skilled in, sorts of things that can ease your mind at some of that stuff, but rest assured that I will do my best to keep him safe and on our travels.
She stubs out her cigarette and just says, "Well, thank you for the drink, Thaddeus. I'll bid you a good night."
He'll stand up and yes, same to you. Be sure to let me know if there's anything I could do for you.
She just nods and then walks out.
And Thaddeus will sit down and pour himself another drink, and that was, oh, thank God for whiskey.
Worse than any Cthulhu monster. Having to have a
Thaddeus' head is
conversation.
pop. A spurned wife,
Yes. All right. It sounds like the evening is going to pass then. Unless there is something further, we'll move on to the morning. Natalia, if you're going to make good on your promise to run around the property with Svetlana, she complains a little because she just doesn't want to get up that early, but she does, and once you get running, she's in a better mood, and she starts being more talkative again.
Yeah, she'll definitely make sure to wake up like half an hour earlier than she usually does, getting ready, and then about 10 minutes before she's supposed to wake Svetlana up, she gets her up. Just time to get up.
Hi, honey, love you.
Just being kind of that very pestery, annoying mom, just to get her back to talking to her.
Yep. Well, when you're done, Thaddeus is still in bed, so you have some time in the morning to spend with the daughter, and he finally gets up. I'd say probably it sounds like late morning, so you can pick up from there.
Tally's in the study, kind of already dressed up. Press skirt, press shirt, like usual. Kind of just going over some of the notes, getting them together, especially the ones with the symbols. Just tapping the pages on the desk. She just waiting for Thaddeus to get up and get ready so they can see if they can find and contact Dr. Lemming.
Thaddeus would have actually fell asleep in that chair, so when you would have came in, he would have stirred. I see you're up early.
Oh, of course. I did not know you made the habit to sleep in here.
Uh, well, lately it's been my home away from home, I guess.
I can understand that. You look, for better words, like shit. You should probably get ready.
Yes, I do need to get dressed. I guess I overslept today.
Only slightly.
He'll smile. Well, let me go make myself presentable, and I shall return. And with that, he'll quickly leave the room.
Okay.
And in that time, that's when Natalia would get the paperwork together.
All right.
And when, I guess, Thaddeus eventually comes back. Oh, I look up. So, as it is, I think, your area of expertise getting a hold of people, how exactly are we going to get a hold of Dr. Lemming?
Well, and he'll sit down and think for a minute. Did Benjamin get his address?
I believe he did. Yes. He resides at the Murray Hill Hotel as a permanent guest.
Well, I guess we can always go call on him at the hotel.
Ah, yes. If you would like to take that away, I'm not sure his feelings on women or Russians.
Well, it don't matter to me and what his feelings would be.
Well, I appreciate that, obvious, but in terms of scheduling an appointment or a meeting, I feel like your words carry much more weight than mine.
I see what you mean.
Hmm.
Well, I mean, I guess we could. I would call him, see if we could set up an appointment, maybe. Then we could go from there.
Excellent.
And with that, he'll go to his phone. Not sure if we have his number, but he'll connect to the operator to connect to the hotel, to connect to the room.
Okay. They can certainly do that. And the phone does ring. And it's about 5 rings. And you hear, "Hello, this is Dr. Lemming."
Hi, Dr. Lemming. My name is Thaddeus Pippin, and I would like to set up an appointment to discuss some things with you.
Intriguing. What sort of things would you like to discuss?
Oh, guess some things that had arise that's been bothering me.
He says, "Well, I'm not that kind of doctor, you know."
Well, I do know that. But
Well, can you be a little more specific? I don't, what did you say your name again was?
Thaddeus Pippin.
Thaddeus Pippin. the very wealthy Mr. Pepin?
The very wealthy Mr. Pippin.
Oh, I've heard your name. I've had the pleasure of meeting you. Well, now
Well,
I am very intrigued.
Yes. And I would like to give you the pleasure of meeting me.
Well, I suppose I won't press you further for details. um, would you like to come round sometime?
How's
Obviously,
later
you
today?
know
sir?
where I am.
Oh, that I do. Later today sound okay? I hope you
This is a
can.
matter of some urgency, is it?
Yes,
I
yes.
suppose I could. Let me check my schedule. Actually, he says schedule. There's a. You hear him flipping a few pages rather loudly. And then he says, yes, I suppose I could fit you in. How about, say, 3 o'clock?
3 o'clock will do.
Good. I'd hate to have to serve you lunch or dinner. That seems the perfect time.
Yes, that would be perfect. So 3 o'clock, yeah, I'll be there on the dot.
Very well. I shall see you at that time, Mr. Pepin.
Thank you, Dr. Lemming. I hope you have a wonderful morning.
No, the morning is almost over, so I either did or I didn't. Well, I look forward to meeting you. Good
Excellent.
day.
Good day.
And he hangs up.
And he'll let his hand the phone. Well, looks like we got a meeting at 3 o'clock.
I am always impressed at that this opens so many doors to this. I'm not sure what we'd do without you at this point.
Well, sometimes it's good to be needed for some things, I guess.
You're needed for a lot of things, that is. Don't sell yourself short. You might have a lot of money, but no need to cheapskate.
Just trying to fit into things, I guess, but... So that leaves us a few hours.
Ty kind of debates on what to do. Could look over some of the books they have, some of the paperwork.
Mm-hmm.
But I think
I will also remind you, I probably shouldn't do this, but it has been a while. You did not complete your search at the library for the Carlisle stuff.
Oh,
Just to remind you of that, since it's been a long time. You kind of got a part way through and had to stop.
I remember taking some of those research. We could go back to the library.
Well, that would be a splendid thing to do. Me and Larry sometimes get along, sometimes don't.
There's many things to look at, so hopefully that'll help while we read. And she gets up, taking the symbols paperwork with her.
Okay.
Thaddeus would eagerly notify Frank to get the car ready and everything.
Okay. And you could be at the library within the hour, I would say. So, 1 second. Yeah. All right. So you go to the library, and without Benjamin. And okay, so you're gonna continue your search. I'll give you a bonus die for having Thaddeus assist you in your efforts, but you'll be the lead librarian, it would seem.
Oh.
Okay. Not bad. So are you going to search on through till something like 2:30? It's only about half an hour or less than half an hour to get to the hotel.
Yeah, so she'd probably search through until about 2 in order to get that half an hour to actually read what she's found.
All right. Let's see. You find a few more things. You find this clipping from 1919. You find this one. And that is what you find. You've gotten up through the late 1919 when it 2 o'clock comes around.
Mm.
And I'm going to call a brief bio break. You can read that over if you don't need one.
Sure.
And then I'll be back.
Okay, so my memory fails me. What was Dr. Lemming
Dr.
important?
Lemming was the name that Benjamin found in regards to like his knowledge on like weird symbols and stuff. I think like occult symbols and whatnot.
So he's a study of the occult then.
I think so.
Awesome. I was just like, who the fuck is Dr. Lemming?
Legendary biblical treasures. What? Expedition left Nairobi on August 3rd, ostensibly on a safari, but rumor insisted that they're actually after legendary biblical treasures. Carlyle and his party reportedly intended to explore portions of the Great Rift Valley to the northwest of Nairobi. Okay, so we need to look up the Great Rift Valley and what the fuck is there.
I think that's the place where, isn't it the volcanic place?
Is it? There's
Googling.
so many different places, man.
Okay, so it's like a giant fault line, it looks like.
Oh shit. Oh shit, man. Oh boy, this is terrifying.
It's quite a ways away from where they start off at Nairobi.
Yeah, northwest of Nairobi, Great Rift Valley.
So it's not too far away. It's not near.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I am back.
Oh, hello.
All right. Did I miss any discussion?
We were at a character discussing the Great Rift Valley that was mentioned. That'll be the next thing to look up. What that is. And the whole biblical treasures thing. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But probably don't have time at this point. Probably have to just kind of note some things in her notebook before heading off to the appointment with Dr. Lemming.
Okay. Then you make your way to the hotel and arrive shortly beforehand. Before, 3 o'clock, I'd say. So, the two of you go in, and the clerk at the front desk has been alerted that you are to expect you, and that you can go on up to his room on the 3rd floor.
Thank you.
So, I assume you just take the elevator up.
Mhm.
And okay. And there's his room. And I'm going to assume you just knock on the door.
Yeah.
Okay. You knock on the door. And you hear a voice from inside. Just a minute, just a minute. And the door finally opens, and this gentleman appears. He looks, a little on the older side. His posture is slightly stooped. His clothes are a little outdated, you would say, Thaddeus. And his apartment looks something like that. That's an actual photo of the interior of the Murray Hill Hotel
Awesome.
from the time. So it's pretty spacious for a hotel room. And he says, "Come in, come in."
Dr. Lemming, I presume.
Yes, yes, I am Dr. Mordecai Lemming. He puts his hand out to shake it.
Thaddeus will gladly shake it.
And he said, "And who is your lovely assistant?"
This is my good friend Natalia.
Pleasure to meet you, Dr. Lemming.
He kind of looks at you, Thaddeus, and kind of gives you a raised eyebrow and sort of a Randy boy wink,
Oh.
and
Glad.
says, "Well done, well done." And he closes the door behind you. And here's Doc. Hey, Doc.
Good evening,
Hello,
ladies and
Doc.
gentlemen.
Grieve.
Who's this doc guy?
Oh.
Is he new?
Don't-
Yeah.
Don't let me interrupt. Don't let me interrupt.
They're just about to meet Dr. Lemming, who I just started to play the role of, but he is yours if you want to take him over.
Let me pull up his. If I can find him again. Jeez, there's so many NPCs.
Yes, there are.
Spoilers.
So the context is they just called this morning. Thaddeus called to he wanted to come and discuss some things. He was very vague about it. But Dr. Lemming recognized his name as the very wealthy Mr. Thaddeus Pepin, and Thaddeus confirmed that. So he's intrigued to meet this rich guy, but he doesn't really know much about the purpose of the visit. It's 3 p.m. He is rather impressed with Thaddeus's, quote, good friend Natalia, and has given Thaddeus the well done wink.
Ah, yes, yes. Okay. I can probably jump in.
All right. So he has just invited them into the apartment.
Oh, yes. So, come on in. Come in. And he kind of waves them in.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Natalia will step into the hotel room, giving it a quick look around. Lovely place you have here, Miss Dr. Lemming.
Yes, well, it's it's home. It's what I call home, anyways. It's where my things are, my books, of course, everything that I need to get along in this great big city. So, what is it I can do for you folks? And how did you come across my name again?
Well, how we came across your name is not that of importance. What is of importance is...
Excuse me, sir. Did you say it's not important that you know how you know me, or that I know how you know me? Really? You think so?
That I do. What is the important part is what we're here to discuss.
Well, I mean, if someone comes to me and says that they heard of me, I of course would like to know how and where. It gives me a basic understanding of what they're coming to me with and what their eyes might be colored with as far as what they know about me. It's just, I think, common courtesy. But if you don't wish to tell me, well, very well. Keep your secrets.
We are all full of secrets, I would think. Purpose of
Some
the
more than
meeting.
others, it seems. But go ahead, go ahead.
Well, the purpose of this meeting is that we have some things to show you, and possibly maybe you could provide some insight on them.
Yes, insight. Well, that's something that I tend to do well. I have given my particular insight to many people around the globe. They've traveled here from different places. They've heard of me. Most of them tell me where they've heard of me from, but I'll do my best to give you my insight.
Hmm. Good, good. That'd be much appreciated. Is there a place we could sit down and perhaps is by a table?
Oh yes, let's go into the reading room. Yes, let's do that now.
Excellent. And I'll look over at Natalia.
She'll nod and follow the two to the reading room with the kind of collection of some of the notes in her hands.
Dr. Mordecai leads you into another room, and it's kind of a little gilded. There's gold, gold like painting on some of the things around the arches. He's got kind of a fanciful style in the room. Books and papers scattered around everywhere.
And Natalia will look to the study area, reading area. She'll take a seat in one of the empty chairs at the table, kind of start getting the paperwork together, tapping it gently against the wooden table, looking up the other two.
Yes, so we have questions about what some of these papers could mean, and your name has came up with possibly being a specialist in the area of...
Well, I can tell you I specialize in several things. This is probably just one of them, but let me take a look at that.
And Natalia, the first page she'll put down is, or at least show him, is the back of Elias's notes, showing the kind of checkerboard with all the symbols on it. We... Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Oh. We have questions about these. We received this from a friend.
Yes, and he takes it with his hands, and you can see kind of ink stains on his fingers and kind of rough cuticles as he takes it from your hands. And he takes it and holds it up close to his face and then pulls it far away from his face as if he's trying to adjust his vision. Yes. Oh, this is interesting. I'm pleased you brought this here to me. It might take a little time, but I could give it a good look over.
If it is possible for maybe me to draw these symbols out somewhere, I'd like to keep the page for myself.
Yes, well, let me just transcribe some of this, if you don't mind. I will do it quickly. Here. And he goes and he pulls a desk roll open, and it kind of just flaps open, and he has a bunch of papers stuffed in there and books, and he kind of pushes everything out of the way as he reaches in, and he grabs a nubby little pencil and a piece of paper. He looks at one side, it has some things on it, and he flips it over and starts drawing on the other blank side, and starts making copies of the checkerboard and the different things. Um, and as he starts making transcribing and making copies, um, you kind of see him stop for just a moment, and his brow furrows, and oh, that's interesting. Hmm. Well, that is interesting. Where did you say again that you were from?
But I am from...
Well, I mean, you, as in the royal you two as a group. Where did you come from?
My house.
Your house. Well, you're a clever man with very few words, aren't you? Yes. Yes. Anyways, where was I?
The symbols you said they were interesting. What's so interesting about them?
Oh, yes. Well, uh, this one here, and he points to the symbol on the far left middle of the checkerboard there. It seems it seems familiar to me. Something about it just rings a bell. I can't quite put my finger on it just yet, but I'm sure it means something. I'm sure it does. Like I said, it's ringing a bell in my head.
Hmm.
Oh,
The...
that's here.
I'm sorry. Could you repeat that?
I said, but that's excellent to hear.
Yes. Yes. Well, uh, do you have any more images of this, perchance? This particular image right here. It's. I have a gut feeling. It's standing out to me. Something about it. I know I've seen this before.
Have you been following the recent news about these Harlem murders, Doctor?
Harlem murders. The yes. I think they just caught some Negroes, did they not?
Yes, but how closely exactly are you following it?
Well, I do know that there was uh, several things going on. Um, I I was also asked to identify some things. Well, truth be told, I was asked to identify some things for the police. I just did not have much input for them.
Like, if you don't mind me asking, like, what exactly?
Well, that's a police matter, I don't know if that's something that I should be divulging here, ma'am. It's all kind of official business. You know what I mean. I'm consulted by many people from around the world, and they take my trust as something of import. So I try and keep that trust. I'm sure you wouldn't want me talking about my conversations with you with just any person who came and asked me about it, now would you?
Would it help if I get the commissioner on the phone and allow him to give you permission to divulge those conversations with us?
Get the commissioner on the phone. Huh? Well, I mean, if I thought maybe you knew the commissioner, sure, and it wasn't just some friend you were calling to give me a good old-fashioned ribbing, well then, I might consider it, but,
You can call him yourself. The number is not hard to find at the commissioner's office.
yes, well... Do you have any more images? That's my question, is do you have any more images?
We don't, unfortunately, have any more images, though my reason for firstly inquiring upon what exactly you helped the police with. If you help the police identify some of the bodies, um, well,
No.
Yes, well, I'm not quite the professional in some of these things. I do know that the author, Jackson Elias, was recently murdered in Harlem. I was asked about that. I never met the man. I was familiar with his work. It was in the papers when I read about his death. I read about his death in the papers. I was ashamed to hear about. And I was familiar with his work. Quite macabre stuff, don't you think? Death cults, African death cults, and such nonsense. I can't say that I was a huge fan, but I definitely was familiar. It was more along the lines of being consulted by the pattern of the murders. If I could identify any resemblance between the different murders, why were their entrails removed? Why were they opened up? Why were they carved on? Oh, I wasn't identifying bodies per se, but I was trying to identify the MO, if you will. I was trying to identify how and why they were doing what they were doing and the way that they were doing it.
of course. And Natalia looks over to Thaddeus, with her an eyebrow kind of raised, almost kind of asking for permission to kind of go on.
Thaddeus would give her a nod.
She looks back to Dr. Lemming. This symbol here, and she'll tap out the paper. This is the symbol that was carved into the heads of the victim.
Yes, I do see the similarity now. That's why it rings a bell. Of course. How could I have been so silly? Oh, I see it clear as day now. Well, now that it's been pointed out, of course, it's easier to see something once it's been pointed out, and then he looks over to Benjamin. Don't you agree? Once you see something that's been pointed out, you see it everywhere. I think that's how symbology kind of works. Symbology, fascinating work, fascinating field. And he just kind of starts rambling on about symbology and his expertise in these things, and continues to kind of ramble.
And she'll attempt to kind of slow that down. Doctor, we have a few more questions.
Oh, yeah. Forgive me, and he kind of wipes his brow a little bit. And yes, you came here for a reason. Exactly how you heard of me, I don't know. Your elderly gentleman of a friend here won't let me know. But in any case, symbols. That's what you came here for. That's right. This one in particular. Yes. You say it was carved into his head.
Yes.
Oh, gruesome work. Gruesome work. That is horrible to hear, and I am sorry to hear it. And he taps his chin a little bit. one second, one second. And he walks out of the room, and you hear kind of some rustling and some grunting in the other room. And you can hear him from the other room. Oh, yes, yes, here. And he comes back into the room with a book in his hand. And he opens it up and kind of dusts it off just a little bit. He starts flipping through it, licks his thumb and his forefinger, and he starts flicking through pages. And he gets to one page that has a crude image, like a crude drawing that looks very similar in style to the one that you're looking at. He said, "Yes, here. I knew I've seen this before. Yeah, it's a symbol that belongs to. Well, it's some kind of death cult. Um, I mean, nothing that's been seen or heard of out of Africa, of course. I can't quite say that this symbol that was, oh, and he shudders, carved into that man's head is the same one. I mean, there's no way that this cult could be working in New York. No, sir. I mean, this is a tribal death cult that is probably still in the darkest jungles of the deepest parts of Africa. I can't imagine that they've made it to the jungle that is New York. Am I right, sir? And he looks over at Thaddeus.
Well, let's say if they are, can you tell us more about this cult? Because it seems like, from what we've been understanding, is there's more attached to this cult than just the tribal aspect of it.
Yes, well, maybe it's copycats, who knows, but there's surely no way that an African death cult could have come to New York and set up shop, if you will. They're simply too primitive. They're not sophisticated like well, like us New Yorkers are. You understand, sir?
Well, that I do, but I also fail to see how a copycat of would go to the trouble of studying this death cult and then come to New York and proceed to make people think that the death cult is here in New York unless they were actually here in New York.
Well, who knows? I can't speak to the mind of a madman now, can I? Um, yeah, who's to say why people do things? Maybe someone wanting to throw your trail off, making you think it's a death cult. Look, here you are. Maybe you are off trail. But my understanding of this specific death cult, I don't even know a name for it. Um, there's another place you might be able to find more information. I've done some work with them in the past. Primitive stuff, primitive things, but there is a import business that sells trinkets and knickknacks. They're in Harlem, I believe. Little place. It's called the Juju House.
The Juju House, you say?
Yes.
And can you elaborate more on how you think the Juju House would know more about this death cult?
Well, I mean, the proprietor of that place, well, he is from Africa. He imports all kinds of items and trinkets from there, and he regularly has business dealings back in Africa. If anyone is going to be an expert on Africa and the insane ideas of savages, well, it's going to be him now, isn't it? A savage himself, I would say.
You would, wouldn't you? Well, that's quite interesting. I mean, he looks over at Natalia. Perhaps we should visit this Juju House at some point. And he'll look back at look back at the Dr. Lemming. So have you dealt with this owner of the Juju house before on anything of the sort?
Well, mainly looking for books for my collections, that kind of thing. I mean, I am a collector, and he kind of waves his hand around the reading room, and you can see all the old books kind of stacked up haphazardly. As you can see, I'm a studied man and a learned man, and I like books of all nature, and I just have a voracious appetite for learning. This is just how we are, you know, old timers in New York. Uh, there's no better place to be a learned man. Wouldn't you agree, sir?
Ah, that I do. I often follow pursuits of different sorts.
Yes. Now, but you were asking something.
Yes, I just still trying to understand the connection of the tribals, the tribal primitive thing that you say it is to the Juju house. And I mean, I'm wondering if there is more besides the fact that the man is from Africa himself.
Well, I can't say that there is a connection now, can I'm simply trying to point you in a direction where you might be able to get more clear answers regarding a topic that I am unfortunately not quite the expert on, but simply someone who I happen to know of who possibly and probably is an expert on. Let me. Uh, I've purchased books from him before. Let me see if I can find his name for you. One moment, and he goes back to his desk and starts fumbling through papers and
He,
uh,
Thaddeus will interrupt him and say, "Don't worry, I'll find him myself. That's no trouble." Um, Now the rest of these symbols, do they, the pattern that's there, and is there any more symbology to all this that you may be able to think offhand? I mean, we are quite willing to let you look at it and study it for a while, and we're just wondering if it's something that kind of just comes forth right to your mind when you see it.
well, nothing quite strikes a chord like that one image that I pointed out already. The rest of this, well, it kind of just looks like a half-finished game of chess now, doesn't it?
That it, and you look over at Natalia. Do you have any more questions, Natalia?
Yes. Doctor,
Yes, lady.
these... Natalia. Um, this here, and she'll point towards the top of the page, that large crossed out section that beside the C, or all of them, kind of the symbols. She'll point those out. I understand it is a bit hard to see, but I'm wondering if you've seen these symbols before anywhere else.
And he kind of raises his eyebrows and squints his eyes at the same time as raising his eyebrows, leans his head back and pulls the paper away from him to get a better focus. And he's looking it over. Well, young lady, I can't really make out exactly what that is. Is it a different language, maybe? It looks as though it's not quite symbology, but maybe writing in another language. But I can't be sure.
Hmm. I do thank you for looking at these. It is
Yes,
much.
well, of course. Anything I can to help such a prestigious gentleman as Mr. Thaddeus here and his young lady friend.
Well, if and he'll ruffle in his pocket and pull out a card and go over to hand it to him. If you look at it and do think of something, would you please let me know.
Yes, of course. And if you ever want to tell me what brought you to my humble abode here, how you learned of me, good sir, then you can also knock on my door.
That I'll do. And you can feel free to contact me if you have any pursuits of the occult and symbology. If you need funding for anything, I am quite interested on the subject. So I will happily listen to any proposals that you may have.
Well, yes, of course. Well, I will definitely be in contact with you. And he kind of shakes the card, in an affirmative manner. Yes, thank you. You will be hearing from me. I can assure you that. If you didn't know, I'm quite the expert in a number of fields, and I've had people come from all over seeking my expertise in different things. So I would be more than happy to help you again if I can.
That would be appreciated.
My apologies. This just kind of came into my head. Mm. Are you familiar at all with the Carlisle expedition, Mr. Lemming?
The Carlisle expedition. Oh, well, that was that young man who decided to go off overseas somewhere and never came home. I did hear about that. Not intimate with the details, but I know that he left on an expedition. Anyone of any stature in New York would know about this young man. I'm sure you do, sir. And he looks at Thaddeus again.
Uh,
But as far as the details go, I will have to admit I didn't follow them quite closely, as I was not as close with Mr. Carlyle as maybe it would have benefited me to be.
Hmm.
what about Penhew?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Penhew, the co-leader of the expedition?
Yeah, well, I knew it as the Carlisle expedition, and so as such, Mr. Carlisle was the focus of what little I do know, which is sad to say, not very much.
Oh, so you're not familiar with the Penhew Foundation that funded the whole expedition? Well, not
No,
funded, but was a
I would have
partner.
thought Mr. Carlisle would have funded the expedition. He was a man of deep pockets, so
That he was.
Ah, my my apologies. My another question. Are you familiar with uh though it is in Africa near Nairobi, so I'm not sure exactly how much your expertise would cover this. But Great Rift Valley?
what is the name of the location, young lady?
Great Rift Valley.
Great Rift Valley. Oh, well, I mean, as far as specific geography in Kenya, I have to admit complete lack of knowledge. I couldn't even tell you what the weather is there right now.
That is fine. I thank you very much for having us meet with you, Dr. Lemming. It was a pleasure.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, yes. Well, the pleasure was definitely all mine. It was definitely all mine.
Yes, and like I said, don't be afraid to call.
Yes, well, thank you for that invitation, sir. And I hope you two find exactly what it is that you are looking for.
Thank you, and we'll be in contact if any more questions arise.
Yes, of course. Well, don't hesitate, not one bit.
Daddy kind of put his hand out to shake Dr. Lemming.
And Dr. Lemmings puts his hands out, and you can see they're kind of just dirty from different ink spots and stained from newspaper ink, that kind of thing. Shakes your hand, looks over at Natalia, and just kind of nods his head and raises his eyebrows a little bit.
She'll politely give him a small nod back for getting up from her seat, collecting the pages again.
And don't worry, we can see ourselves out. But please, try to look into more about this chessboard that we have here presented to you.
Sure, sure. I will continue looking at it. If if I do see anything of import, I will give you a ring.
Excellent. And of course, the business card would have the number of his secretary. That way, she kind of weed out some of the weirder calls.
You
And
bastard.
I mean, he's Thaddeus is interested in it, so he would, of course, want to know more. But this is every time he hands a business card out, he doesn't want everybody to be able to call the house exactly. And with that, Thaddeus will turn and start heading towards the door.
Dr. Lemming will walk you guys to the door and watch you walk out and close the door behind you.
What an odd man.
Indeed. I think this time we have some more questions for Silas.
Yes, that we do.
Just hopefully this time the detective is not there.
It'd be quite interesting if he was, because I'm kind of wondering why the detective was there.
I think he has a hand in all this. That's just me.
Hmm.
We should pay a visit to the Juju house.
Yes, I believe that should be our next stop.
All right. So going directly there. It's not too
Full steam.
Not too far. Full steam ahead.
Sure.
All right. Well, we can do that. Let's see. Just one moment. All right. Well, you arrive there. It's probably a little after 4. You get there. And the shop is very quiet. And you see old Mr. N'Kwane. When you walk in, he looks up and kind of without expression, and he just kind of nods at you.
And Thaddeus, of course, would walk straight up to where he's at.
On the ride over, Natalia, in her notebook, kind of turned to a new page and sketched out the symbol that has been repeated over and over, just so she doesn't have to hand over the note itself.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. Natalia will flank Thaddeus there, following him up to the counter.
Good day, Mr. N'Kwane.
Good day to you. You returned.
Yes.
Looking
It seems
for
that
more
your
treasures
name
from
has came up.
Africa, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
And he smiles toothlessly.
It seems your name has came up again in my circle. But this time, instead of looking for particular items, it's more information I'm looking for.
Information. Interesting.
Yes. Information that is gladly paid for if provided.
He says,
Yeah.
I like money.
Who don't? I love it too.
Smiles again.
And Thaddeus would look over towards Natalia, kind of giving her a go-ahead.
And she'll take the piece of paper out of her notebook and put it on the table, passing it over to Silas. We want to know if you know anything about this particular symbol.
And I assume you're pointing at the,
Yeah, it's the only thing drawn on the page there. She copied it over.
oh, okay.
So it's fairly
Ah,
big, yeah.
so
She didn't want to hand over the note.
It's not Elias's note. It's your copy of the symbol.
Yes.
Okay. He looks at it for a few moments and looks up and smiles his toothless smile again and says, "I'm afraid that symbol means nothing to me, should it?"
Well, you being from Africa, this symbol apparently is representative of one of the death cults that are there, and we wanted to know if you know more about that type of thing.
His face is just blank for a moment, and then he smiles again, and he says, "I deal in curiosities. I don't make a study of cults."
As you deal in curiosity.
He says,
Hmm?
he says, "Why is a white woman interested in an African cult, I wonder?"
I was highly interested in the works of a certain author and his notations upon these things. I wanted to do some research of my own, came upon this symbol.
He said, "Perhaps if you told me a little about where you've seen this, it might help me connect it to something for you."
She'll go over to Thaddeus.
Well, I don't know if it could do any harm.
Well, this note was given to us in relation to the Carlisle expedition. Therefore, this symbol was present in some of these notes regarding it.
Tell me about this Carlisle expedition you mentioned.
Group of fairly affluent people inexperienced with archaeology, going to Kenya, Nairobi, looking for there's rumors going around about things they were looking for. Some of them biblical items. But they ended up there and ended up dying there.
Oh, I am sorry to hear that. I suppose it is not always wise for white men to tread on the black man's ground. And he smiles again.
Even more interesting is that there was a string of murders with that symbol involved, so to speak, as in carved into them.
Ah. Yes, everyone in Harlem has heard of those murders.
What was that?
He said everyone in Harlem has heard of those murders.
Mm. So that kind of piques our interest as well as the why symbol that's associated with an African death cult would be making its way onto bodies here in the great city of New York.
He says, "Have you spoken to the police? They have, I am told, arrested the man who committed these murders."
That's another interesting thing, that there was a murder after the man was arrested, and it carried the same MO as as the
I'm
detectives
sorry.
would put it.
The same. I'm not familiar with this word, MO.
Mortis operandi. It's a calling card.
He looks at you blankly.
With the same symbol. connecting it to the other murders?
Yes, Natalia, of course you can. Okay. Your sense is that he looks a little uncomfortable with this whole line of discussion. His smile seems a little forced, maybe. He's putting on his customer relations face.
How about this? Do you have many? And I understand you deal in oddities and interesting items from Africa itself. Do you have any items that might have originated from that area in Kenya?
Which area specifically?
Around Nairobi or
Well,
the...
certainly some, yes. I am Kenyan.
maybe even the Great Rift Valley, if anything interesting has come from there.
We do not call it that valley. That is a white man's name, but I am familiar with the region.
I apologize. May I ask exactly what it is properly referred to as?
Yes, he gives you a name. I don't know it offhand. But he
Okay.
says it in Kenyan. And he says it is a very remote region. There are a few people there. It is not very hospitable.
I assume they are not very welcoming to outsiders.
No, traditionally they would not be.
Of course. But the items from Nairobi, do you mind if we take a look? They might be of interest to us.
He says, I am happy to show you any of my merchandise.
Thank you.
And he comes out from behind his little desk and starts showing you various collectible items in the shop. There's a mask, a shield, a couple of what appear to be children's carved toys. Some jewelry, not very expensive.
She's gonna take a closer look at that mask,
Mm-hmm.
kind of examining it, seeing if there's anything carved into it.
You can make well, it wouldn't really be a spot hidden. You can make an intelligence check for me.
Okay.
Just INT. Yep, there you go. You
Yeah.
don't see any interesting markings or carvings on it. It certainly is carved, but there's nothing. There's no symbols. It just looks like it's, it has sort of like whiskers maybe carved into it, if just for lack of a better term, coming out from the nose and mouth area.
She'll put it down before picking up some of the children's toys and
Mm-hmm.
holding it over to Thaddeus. Do you think Lana would like this?
Well, I mean, it is from Kenya. And he kind of has a little right eye, like implying that he wouldn't buy it for a kid.
and she puts it back down.
It's cute.
Huh.
It's like a doll.
Maybe
It's like a,
curves.
it's like a primitive doll.
You know what? I'm going to get this.
And Silas smiles. He says, of course, I will give you a very good price for it.
Oh, thank you. She'll look over to Thaddeus, raising an eyebrow. Do you have anything else?
Oh, he's just looking around and yes, I'll take the mask as well. Unless that's what she was talking to instead of the doll.
He says, you mentioned you're interested in these murders. You're not investigators or police.
Well, it's more of a personal interest, could say.
It is an odd thing to take a personal interest in.
And Thaddeus will look around. Well, no more odd than some of these, I would assume.
Well, this is my culture. It is where I come from.
Yes, and being inquisitive and curious is kind of my culture as well.
He says, one should be careful about what one is curious about. I think my curiosities are much safer than your interest in murders.
Well, it's more into how did a murder with the same style symbol happen after the so-called person was already arrested.
He shrugs. He says, there are gangs around here. I'm sure one of them heard something about the murders and wanted to scare others. Doesn't that seem reasonable to you?
Is... Silas, I understand a detective came in here the other day when we were here. Very nice man. No?
He smiles his toothless smile again, but doesn't say anything.
Yes, she does bring up a good point. What would a detective have to do with the shop? Were you recently robbed or something, or is...
The police regularly come here to check to see that all is well. I am one of the few profitable businesses in this neighborhood. It is not uncommon that I should be robbed.
Well, I hope you weren't robbed recently or anything.
He says, oh, there are always those who take this or that they shouldn't take. But nothing
yes,
of great value.
I understand. And you look over and tell you, anything else that strikes your interest?
Just this doll.
Yes, the doll.
Very well.
That's it.
So, the mask and the doll, if you will.
Alright. He wraps them up in a couple-day-old newspaper.
And Thaddeus, of course, will also pull out his card and as he's wrapping and set it down. If perhaps something comes to mind or somebody comes in that inquires about the same symbol or anything to do with the symbol or the possible death cults or anything, will you please ring and let me know?
When you hold it out, and he takes it and smiles, and he looks at it and he says, I am sure I will be in touch if I think of anything.
I do appreciate it. Yeah, with that,
Is
when he's done rapping and ready to
is
ring up Thaddeus, of course, would pay the...
so you mentioned before, is this is this your business card thing again for your office?
Yes, yes, that
Like
way,
you gave to Lemming? Yeah. Okay.
yeah. So that way, I mean, the message would be relayed, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. He says, "Well, I am about to close up now, so you will be the last customer of the day for me." And he smiles.
Uh,
And
well, I do hope you have a wonderful night.
by way of kind of walking you to the door, clearly that is his intent. And I assume you let yourself be ushered out, the two of you?
Yes.
Yeah, then he closes the door behind you and flips the sign to closed and pulls a shade down over the door.
As they're getting into the car and everything, Thaddeus will kind of look over and tell you. Well, I think one of those private detectives that we have now that at our disposal, maybe we should put one on Mr. N'Kwane.
I thought that you already had one on him, or at least to find him.
Just to find him. I don't know if he continued on afterwards or not.
You did not give instructions for him to be surveilled, so you would not expect that they would. You got the bill was already taken care of, so it was just a brief engagement.
Yeah. So, yes, we will definitely put one on him now, at least.
Good idea.
Now that we are asking about it, if he's connected, I assume that there will be some type of activity.
I'm assuming so. He was fairly uncomfortable with the line of questioning. I'm not sure if it was either he might have been silenced, maybe he knows more than he's letting on, or he knows absolutely nothing and us questioning about Africa makes him extremely uncomfortable.
Yes, but being from where he's from, I don't doubt that he has not heard of any such things like he implied.
Indeed. Well, seems more and more that they're going to want to head out of America soon.
Yes. So what time are we looking at right now?
Well, it's
Darren?
now definitely dinner time. It's about 5 o'clock, and you
Well,
had
should we-
you had a very early small lunch before going to the library. So
Yeah. Shall we go back to the house and perhaps have a dinner with everybody to kind of soothe over everybody's neglect, I guess you could say?
It is true. Maybe I should spend the day with Svetlana. I think she is. I think I'm not spending enough time with her like before.
Well, excellent. When we get back, I will put everybody on making a splendid dinner. Maybe some roast beef of some sort or something.
That sounds lovely, Thaddeus.
Yes. And with that, I look at Frank and... Well, Frank, I guess we can go home.
as you say, Mr. Pepin, and he takes you home.
So when they get home, one of the first things Thaddeus would do, of course, would notify any of the staff that was involved with the dinners and stuff, that the
Mm-hmm.
roast beef and a little something special going on. And then would head to the phone. I'm not sure if I guess it would have to be go through my secretary to
Mm-hmm.
order more of the private detectives. So that would be my next stop.
Yep. Okay.
And if she's not at the office, of course I would call her at home.
Yes, she is not at the office. So you do have to call her at home. And she has a phone because you are paying for her to have a phone at home so she can be reached by you at any time.
Of course.
And she's all eager to hear from you.
So he would go ahead and
Yep. She
dial it in.
she will re-engage a private investigator to put Mr. N'Kwane under surveillance.
And of course Daddy's was stressed like right away.
Yes.
Not wanting to waste any time.
All right. She says, "I'll start right now on it, sir."
Thank you. I hate to bother you at home.
Oh, it's no bother. You're such a dear for being concerned.
Thank you. And you have a good night.
And you, Mr. Thaddeus.
Yeah, with that, of course he'd hang out.
Mm-hmm. All right. You guys have your roast beef dinner. And it sounds like Natalia's going to spend the evening with Svetlana.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Kind of hanging out, reading books, teaching her more English.
Mm-hmm.
Of course Daddy's would be hanging out in his study, drinking his whiskey.
All right. Should we move on to the next day? Doc, you want to take over for the next day?
Well, until I get like fully caught up with what's going
Okay.
on,
I'll-
you just want to finish this out.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I just need to get back in the groove and see where everyone is and what the status is of everything before
Right.
I take over again.
Yep. Okay. So a night passes, and what is the plan for the next day?
If we haven't heard from the Mrs. Carlyle, how about those books?
You have not.
Natalia's going to suggest they go back to the library.
Brings up a thing, the interview with the prisoner that the commissioner was supposed to arrange.
Mm-hmm.
That was on a,
Yes.
on a
And you were going
it-
to kill two birds with one stone, interview the prisoner, and give your official statement.
Yes. That was, is that, because it kind of fade. We got back and it was supposed to be like a Thursday thing, right?
I think
remember
they
correct.
said you could do it any time.
Oh. Excellent. So,
But, he was saying
also,
they would like you to do it sooner rather than later, just so they can, kind of keep their books, their paperwork up to date.
excellent. I don't remember if Thaddeus arranged for his own interpreter.
Yes, he was going to get somebody.
Yes.
Yes. Helen can have somebody available. She has
Excellent.
located that speaks several dialects from the Kenyan region.
Excellent. Excellent. So that'd be something that Thaddeus would bring up to Natalia if she, as we were sitting.
Well, it is definitely something necessary to do. See if he knows any more. At least, well, if what he says is true, we at least know the arresting officer.
Yes, yes.
The quote-unquote investigation. But
Well, they have two people that we would like to talk to. I mean, the one that I managed to save on the balcony of the hotel that night of Mr. Jackson's death, and the
yeah,
one, of course, that was arrested for the murders before the death.
my apologies. I tried to block out that day.
I know. I wish I could as well.
Yes. If you would like to contact the police station, then we can head over as soon as it is convenient.
So you want to go to the police station first?
Duh.
Okay. Well, pretty much any time is convenient for a police station, especially during the day. You'll find anyone, but even at night. So, all right, you head over to the 14th Precinct headquarters in Harlem. And you come in, and of course there's a desk sergeant who asks you what your business is here.
Yes, my name is Thaddeus Pepin. I told the commissioner I'd come in to give my statement and also question a prisoner that's in custody.
What's the statement in regards to?
The murder that just recently happened of Mr. Jackson alive.
All right. He tells you to wait there, and he goes back. And then comes back, and he said, "Yep, that would be Detective Matson." And he says you can go in.
Excellent, excellent. It'll give us time for our interpreter to arrive.
And there he is. He looks up, and when you approach the desk, and he sees Thaddeus, and just starts an acknowledgement, and then he sees Natalia standing next to him, and he kind of smirks.
Yes, yes, I do believe you know each other.
He smiles and stands up, and he says, "Yeah, what did you say your name was again?"
Natalia.
Natalia. Yes. Take a seat. And you must be Mr. Pepin.
The one and the same.
Yeah, I was
It is
told
a
you'd
pleasure.
be coming by.
Yes, for multiple reasons. I'm sure you were told.
Yeah, they said something about you wanting to speak to the prisoner.
Yes.
He said, he shakes his head. He says, "I'm afraid that's really not going to be possible."
Oh, and why so?
Well, unless you're planning to have a seance, it's going to be a little difficult. I'm afraid he
And-
hung himself 2 nights ago
Hung himself, you say?
in his cell.
Hmm. And with what did he hang himself with?
His belt.
His belt. So you allowed the prisoner to have his belt in his cell with him?
Why not?
Because prisoners often would like to, I don't know, you say escape any type of punishment at all costs sometimes?
There was no clear indication he was going to suffer any severe punishment. He was just a suspect. No reason for him to kill himself. Who
I
knows
suspect
what?
that
Who knows what was in his head?
Well, I do believe he was more than just a suspect because he was there. Also was involved in attacking myself.
He puts up his hands. He says, "Sure, sure."
Thaddeus's face is kind of proud
he
now.
says, in any case, it looks like he probably was guilty. I don't think he would have killed himself if he was innocent. So, justice is served.
Now, if you think so, I happen to think it's a more of a connected crime to other things going on.
Well, you're welcome to make your statement, and I'd love to hear your theory.
Yes, indeed.
And
And he's kind of displeased at the prisoner dying, of course. So, if you would like to start some of the questions, and
he says,
maybe I could elaborate.
really, I just want you to describe in your own words what happened that day when Mr. Elias was killed.
Well,
Tell me with
maybe I
as
should
many
leave it.
details as you can remember.
Do you mind if I can leave the two of you alone? If you'd like.
He says, "Well, you were there too, miss. So I'd like to have your statement as well."
Oh. Alright.
You are Natalia Vaskovia, correct?
That is correct.
And there was
Yes.
also a Benjamin Wagner, however you pronounce it.
yes, Benjamin is, did get called away. We were planning to all come together, but it's,
That's fine.
He will
I
be-
can take the two of you in turn, and then you can just have Mr. Benjamin come in at his earliest convenience. We do want to kind of get this wrapped up if we can. So,
excellent.
I'm not going to make you recount the whole thing, but are there any details you are purposely leaving out?
I don't think Thaddeus would. He didn't get a great look of the inside, so like he wouldn't leave out much except for the fact that Benjamin, of course, went and rifled through the desk area.
Are there any details you are inventing?
As far as inventing, not
Or
sort of invent.
or even exaggerating? Just I'm trying to get us. I don't want you to have to go through the whole story, but I just want to know what officially what is your. I'm assuming you're telling everything as it occurred, but I'm giving you a chance here to tell me if there's stuff you leave out, or if there's anything you want to enhance or exaggerate, or just pure
Gotcha.
makeup.
Well, as far as Thaddeus go, he does have things he would exemplify. I'm not sure if Natalia has anything else to invent or exemplify or anything of the sort.
Yeah. Until you would leave out her detailed kind of look at Elias's forehead and kind of that really playing up when they got there, they heard the shuffling, and when they opened the door, or when Benjamin kicked down the door, the men with machetes were there, and she leaves out a lot of the, at least for her, the fighting details. Kind of just talking about how he attacked her, and she went down fairly quickly.
You can see that when he opened the file, a picture of Elias is on the front in his. It's like a police death photo.
Mm.
It looks like this.
Yeah, Talia will have kind of a physical reaction to that, kind of pushing the chair back away, like about a foot from Detective Matson, looking away from the photo. Please, I apologize. Very uncomfortable
He
with.
says, "Oh, my
doing that.
apologies, miss. Didn't mean to upset you." Said if you need some water.
Yes, that would be nice.
He gets up and goes to get you some water.
If he'll look, Thaddeus looking at Talia. If you would like, you can step away while I recount some of the other details.
She'll actually turn back to the photo very somberly, just kind of looking it
Well,
over.
he stuffed it back into the
Oh, he stuffed it back
folder
in,
when it was clear that it upset you.
Yeah. Yeah, she'll shake her head. I'll be alright. But thank you, Thaddeus.
Yes, I wouldn't want to accept you more.
He comes back and hands you a glass of water.
She'll take it with a nod. Thank you, Detective.
My pleasure. He says, "All right, let's get back to it." And he so was there anything? Okay, so I think that pretty much establishes it. You just tell the rest of the story. Trying to be
Yeah.
accurate, it sounds like. Okay.
Thaddeus would go into more detail about the attack, how he came at him and had to defend himself, and how one managed to escape, and the other one that Thaddeus saved, that the one they have in custody, seemed bewildered after Thaddeus saved them.
Okay.
And then, of course, Thaddeus would also ask with the symbol about if he's connecting it to the Harlem murders or not.
The detective shrugs. He says, "Well, given the fact that the man who committed the other murders is already behind bars and waiting for the electric chair, I would say this is probably just someone copying his behavior."
Are you at least looking for the third person?
Oh, of course we are. But it's a little hard to find a black man in Harlem. Or
So,
he was.
so detective, if this person who committed the crimes and you think it's a copycat, are you looking into the possibility that it's not a copycat?
He says, "I can't divulge too many details, you understand, but well, we believe that that there may have been some associates of Mr. Adams who we didn't pursue in the initial investigation and didn't bring any charges against, but it's possible that his associates are continuing to carry out murders. We're certainly looking into that."
And what makes you so sure that they're associates and that he didn't take the fall for something that he didn't do?
Take the fall? You read too many dime novels. I don't think anybody took the fall for anything. He was tried and convicted.
Yes, well, this is not the time for innocent black or Negroes, as you would say, to be proven innocent. I'm sure of that. However, since it involves my friend, it's not that it's a consequence, it's more of a personal matter now of mine that if he's not the one who did it, that maybe he might know the one who did it, or possible that he might be completely innocent, as someone who I talked to earlier thinks, and seems to thinks that maybe the murders actually might have a little bit of a connection with some corrupt officers and stuff.
Hmm.
What exactly is your take on that? Because I mean, as far as I know, I don't know how far outreach could be, but I imagine if there's some pockets involved, it could be, you know, I mean, he looks around the police station. I mean, hasn't the bootleggers and stuff already proven that it is possible that the cops can be bought, so to speak?
You can see he kind of bristles a bit. Um, and he says, "Look, Mr. Pepin, you're a very important man in New York. I get that. But don't come into my police station and start throwing around accusations like that. We're
Well,
all
I'm sure
decent
that
policemen here. We all do our job. We don't take bribes. We serve justice."
Uh, uh, well, not trying to say that you or any of your friends may be taking bribes, but I could hear the same thing from an officer who would take a bribe. He would tell me the same exact thing, I would think.
So are you
Thaddeus,
saying I take bribes? You
Did
got
I not just
something that you
say?
got? If you want to file a complaint, that's certainly your right.
Oh, well, if I really thought that you took bribes and wanted to file a complaint, I would most definitely. Um, I mean, but it's not that I'm saying you do, but I'm also saying that isn't it possible that if there's a connection, there could be corrupt cops involved?
Not from the 19th precinct. I can't speak for other precincts.
Thaddeus, and Natalia will put a hand on his arm. I apologize, Detective Medicine. Jackson was a close friend of ours, and it is a very personal matter to the small group of us. We are very defensive about it. I apologize for any accusations my friend has thrown on you, of course, and she'll look over to Thaddeus, narrow her eyebrows slightly before looking back to the detective.
Well, again, I do apologize, but it's not like I was implying you were. I just know that is it, that you would maybe look into those facts that it could be possible, and being a upstanding detective, you would look into different aspects of that.
He puts on a very fake smile. And he says, "I assure you, Mr. Pepin, we're looking at all possible angles."
I feel like I'm quite reassured.
Good. Then I think we're done here. If you'll just sign this statement, both of you, we can be done.
I most definitely will, and I would appreciate it if anything comes of light. I mean, I know that you wouldn't be able to share such investigative stuff like that, but maybe a phone call or something, just to kind of be informed about my friend's murder.
Sure. If anything comes up that I think would be of interest to you and put your mind at ease, I'll let you know.
I do appreciate it. And if there's anything I could do to help you, of course, you can always call on me. I am a friend of a true police officer and of course a true detective.
Great. Glad to hear it. And you can see he puts the statement in the folder. And he said, "Do you need me to see you out, or do you know the way?"
No, we know the way.
Good, good. Have a good evening then, or afternoon.
You too.
Thaddeus, if you'll give me just a moment, I will meet you outside, yes?
Yes, he'll do. And with that, Thaddeus will make his way out.
So are you gonna ask me out on another date?
I wanted to apologize for the other day, the earlier deceptions. I'm just very curious and wanting to find out exactly what happened. A bit ahead of myself, and I apologize for that.
Yeah. So you figured you'd chat up the police officer, and maybe he'd drop you some information. I get it.
Yes,
You could have
but
just come right out and asked.
yes, I could have, but silly me, I did not think of that at the time.
All right.
She'll get up and, well, long shot, but if you ever want another coffee, let me know.
He kind of gives you a second look again. And he says, well, maybe I'll do that.
And so I'll give him a smile before heading out to meet Thaddeus.
Okay.
As they head to the car, once they get in, that was not the smartest thing, my friend. Antagonizing the police officer.
Well, I don't know if you were able to read them, but I figure since there was mention of the cops being involved in some of the stuff, that the reaction would be something that we would want to note.
Indeed, but making it obvious that we think that there are crooked cops who are in on this thing is probably not the best way to go about this. I think there might be a... Well, if he is one of them, a bigger target on our backs because of this and our suspicions. If not, you just pissed him off is all. If worse comes to worse.
Well, if he's not connected to anything, then him being mad would be of no consequence. I'm sure people make detectives and officers mad quite a bit. But if he is connected, then we shall know sooner or later.
Maybe you should look into hiring more muscle around your estate. That
Yes.
is.
He's got a pretty good amount of
I
muscle
should-
right now.
I shall go further because seeing that some of the police department may be in on this, that maybe I could take steps to mitigate some of the officers, I guess. Through,
What do you mean?
there's always ways. One would be having my company acquire several media outlets
Oh
of
my
newspapers and such, and then also trying to throw some of my wealthy weight around in some government agencies that can. They're already involved with the bootlegging, so it would be
Oh my
nothing for them
goodness.
to look further into the activities of the, I guess you could say, the 19th precinct and any
I
connections.
I mean, you can, but I feel like just antagonizing the police who are looking into this is... I don't know if it's the best choice, that is.
Well, I mean, because I don't know how far the corruption would go. It's not like,
Who
I mean,
knows? Maybe it's all over New York City. Maybe it's all over America. You
true.
are corrupt people.
That is true. But, hmm, I'll think on this. I kind of find it odd and displeasing that the one person that we wanted to talk to conveniently died in a cell.
Yes, I do have theories on that. Whether it be he actually chose to hang himself so we could not speak to him, or if someone else killed him. Of course, that is always a theory.
Yes.
That maybe they did not want him to talk, so they killed him.
Well, at any rate, maybe increasing more private detectives on our payroll to follow around some key individuals would,
Like the detective?
yes, like the detective.
Well, I asked them out to coffee again, so I'll see if that comes to fruition.
Well, I would not, of course, trust him to be with you alone at that point.
Yes, but I do not think that coming into the place that we are dining at and staring at us with a paper in front of your face really counts as stealth or watching over.
No, no, it wouldn't be me. I'm
Frank?
yes, maybe Frank, maybe some of the other ones on the compound.
That would be fine. I don't mind getting babysat at this point.
Yes, I'd be surely heartbroken if something happened to you. You are like family.
Thank you, that is. Honestly, at this point, based on everything that has happened, I used to be fairly confident in my own sort of skills in defending of myself, but uh, not so much anymore.
No, because I'm quite questionable about myself too, as well. I mean, it's hard to know who would be coming after us. I mean, it's a scary thought, but it could be anybody if they're as connected as we learned.
Hmm. Yes, I would rather try to avoid getting attacked again. I I don't think I would survive a third time.
Well, if I'm around, you could count on me to help aid you in surviving for a third time.
I do hope that it does not come to that and that I am not the point of ire for any man or creature that attempts to attack us again. I do not want to go against anything with many teeth. Uh,
Yes,
it still haunts me.
yes, me as well, including the what else I saw there.
I can imagine it was utterly terrifying. I still can't fully believe that you saw something in there.
This gives me nightmares to this day.
But but this evening once I put Svetlana to bed, we share a drink and maybe talk about some happier things. I think both of our minds are very weighed down by everything going on.
Yes, yes. It'd be good to talk about something else for a night.
Maybe your secretary.
Oh,
She seems fairly interested, that yes. I'm not sure if it's just dedication to the job or
hmm. She's been with me for quite some time.
She's sweet.
Yes. Well, she knew the others in my family as well, so it's I think more of a worried thing.
Whatever you say that is.
And Daddy's kind of smile. Yes. Well, if you would like to talk about the sec my secretary who's always seems to be overly worried about me, then we can.
Yes, let's gossip about your secretary. Be a great distraction.
And I just want to remind you,
Maybe
it
about...
is still only late morning. It's about noon
Oh.
now.
Well,
So I
Totally thought it was
I
nighttime, but
think
it's
just,
actually...
yeah, just because of the picture, I think made you think it's nighttime. I think think you were planning to go to the library as well
Yes.
to finish
Yes.
up. Okay, yeah. Well, we can do that next time because it is getting late and it's time to stop. But we will pick up your research next time.